What benefit do you gain from this situation? You gain nothing from this relationship, from this business partnership. All you can do is lose by associating yourself with creators like this.
So, Arikado made a short video where he listed out creators that he's no longer talking to, and I just have to ask, what's the point? If you're done associating with certain people, that's a private matter. You don't need to broadcast it like it's a high school cafeteria drama. The act of making that video doesn't come across as mature detachment. It reads as a public statement meant to stir speculation, invite sides, and ultimately create the very drama he claims he doesn't want to be associated with. If anything, it feels like it's a soft power move, like saying, look who I'm cutting off. Make sure you know I'm distancing myself, which ironically is the kind of behavior that fuels drama, not avoids it. But that's not even the most revealing part, right? The bigger issue is how the pushback was handled on the critique of Wuthering Waves. Puts out a video, frames the criticisms, and then the moment people disagree with it, deletes it in justification, saying leaving it up would have been dumb. And we did talk, and it wasn't anything crazy. We just had a small conversation. I was like, yo, I don't have an issue with you. And then he said he's pulling back on the drama content. We might talk about it again at some point, but not for a while. And then I was like, yo, the analytical approach is definitely something that works. And I think it's something more people should strive to bring into the communities they're a part of. Drama can be draining, not just for the creators, but for the audience too. Personally, I'd never believed in segregating gacha communities, but apparently just saying I don't agree with a certain take is enough to get me labeled a shill, even though I actively play and stream the game, that game being Wuthering Waves. When this all started when I defended myself after Saint took issue with my thumbnail on a reaction to Smack's critique of Wuthering Waves skin pricing. To me, it's strange to pocket watch over people you've never interacted with and paint them in a negative light over a disagreement. What really bothers me is that anytime someone from Saint's community interacts with me outside of that bubble, they come in with a preconceived idea or notion of who I am, and that's where I took issue with Saint himself. More and more, we're seeing bigger creators not realizing the weight their words carry or how much influence they have over someone else's perception. All I ever get from Saint's community in my comments are recycled talking points, just parroting what he said on stream. I've never received a single comment that brings a fresh perspective or starts actual conversation. That's why your video felt the same to me. That's it, right? And then I was like, hey, if we ever do have this podcast, I would love to have you on. So as you can see, I gave my advice, was trying to be nothing but nice there, right? Again, just so we're clear, not attacking him, just trying to give advice. If he sincerely believed in the validity of his criticisms, then retreating the moment he faced pushback reveals not prudence, but performative fragility. Criticism, especially of a game as polarizing as Wuthering Waves, necessarily invites discourse, but by erasing the video, he essentially conceded that his position could not withstand scrutiny, which undermines both his credibility and the notion that he is committed to honest commentary. The argument that deletion was a rational choice implicitly frames dissent as inherently destructive, when dissent is the lifeblood of discourse. To recoil from dialogue because it is uncomfortable is not the mark of a thoughtful commentator, but rather the hallmark of someone more concerned with curating their image than fostering substantive discussion. If he truly does not wish to be perceived as a drama channel, then demonstrating intellectual resilience, standing by one's assertions, even under criticism, would have been the most effective way to prove it. Instead, by capitulating, he transformed ordinary disagreement into drama by virtue of overreaction. So basically, in short, the Active deletion does not convey wisdom, it conveys insecurity. Leaving the video up would not have been dumb, it would have been principled. And here's literally why the thumbnail's not even a stretch, right? I'm gonna explain this to you. Telling someone who they can and cannot interact with is very high school drama-esque. Instead of letting people make their own judgments, acting as like a gatekeeper who's deciding who's worthy of being in the circle, it's not just petty, it's manipulative. It's not community building, it's community policing. It creates a climate where people feel pressured to pick sides instead of just enjoying the games, collaborating, and building friendships. And let's be honest, when someone uses their platform or influence to control social interactions, that's not leadership. It's intimidation dressed up as advice. So this is where that Atsu comparison comes in. He had the same reputation, consistently in the middle of drama, dictating who people should avoid and punishing those who didn't follow his unspoken rules. He created a toxic environment where creators couldn't breathe without worrying about stepping on the wrong toes. And here's the thing, if history is repeating itself, if SAINTONTAS keeps walking this road, he's essentially becoming the new Atsu. And that's not a good look for anybody. Instead of being remembered as someone who brought people together, he's going to be remembered as someone who divided them. What makes it worse is this kind of behavior doesn't just affect creators. It trickles down into the audience. Viewers see these feuds, these cliques, these invisible walls, and it turns the entire community into a battlefield. Fans shouldn't feel like they're in the middle of high school drama when all they want to do is watch content about their favorite games. Honestly, it raises the question, why are people so afraid of other people connecting? Why does it threaten you if two people you don't like happen to get along? If your platform and your content are really that strong, you shouldn't need to micromanage the social lives of other creators. At the end of the day, people are going to talk to who they want. No amount of behind the scenes whispering or guilt tripping can stop that forever. And when the truth eventually comes out, because it always does, people start to see the manipulator for who they really are. I'm not making this video to stir the pot. I'm making it because this kind of behavior damages the community. We should be encouraging collaboration, open conversations, and diversity of perspectives, not fear, not division, and definitely not controlling who people are allowed to talk to. Saint might not realize it yet, but if this continues, he won't just be compared to Atsu. He'll become the new Atsu. And trust me, that's a legacy that no one wants.